Hello, everyone. My name is Gómez-Zará, and I'm delighted to present this work called A Taxonomy of Team Assembly Systems, Understanding How People Use Technologies to Form Teams. Our motivation is to understand how the current ecosystem of technologies is helping us assemble teams. And this has several consequences, especially in team composition. Depending on how people use these systems and the affordances that these systems provide, teams could be more or less diverse. To understand the consequences, we want to iterate and present a taxonomy that helps us understand how systems help people assemble teams. And first, we started reviewing studies related to teams, and we found that most of the attention is on team performance, team processes, and team formation, but once the team is already assembled. Nothing or just a few studies are related to how the mechanisms of choosing and putting together people for a specific group. Although there are some studies, the specific impact of technologies on team assembly has not been studied in depth. And we wanted to analyze if the CSCW frameworks that we have currently could help us to understand how users interacted with the systems. However, we didn't find enough dimensions that could explain precisely how users were controlling or being part of this team formation process. For our reason, we are presenting this taxonomy based on two dimensions. The first one is users' agency, and tell us to what extent users have control over the team formation process on the system. And you can see on one side, it could be one single user who controls the process and determines the input and the criteria. And on the other side, we have one system who decides who are going to be part of specific teams. And the second dimension tells us about how many people, how many users are able to participate in this team assembly process. It could be just one single user who decides, or it could be multiple who decides who are going to be part of their teams. And based on these two dimensions, we present 4 kinds of teams that are a result of these systems. The first one is optimized teams, in which the system assembles teams based on a defined criteria on the user's input. The second one is staff teams, where the user can establish the team formation criteria and the system performs the calculations. Then we have self-assembled teams, in which users assemble their own teams on the systems. We can see this, for example, in multiplayer games. And finally, augmented teams, in which the system help users and augment their decisions. And that could be providing specific recommendations or by curating which are going to be the most effective and appropriate or suitable teammates for their teams. And to see how this taxonomy fit in the literature, we performed a scoping review methodology, starting with more than 2,200 articles. And we found 126 articles that addressed the architectures, mechanisms, processes, and users' behaviors on systems to support in team assembly. And the results mainly explain that most existing system designs resulting in limited users' agency, the computer had most of the control, and only 33% of the articles, the users were able to control this process. And in more than 90 articles, the systems allowed the participation of just one single user. In our discussion, we explain or discuss how the increasing use of these augmented teams, it will be key to the future of work, how these teams can be better and more effective by the use of these technologies, and also how these two dimensions can explain and help us to design and understand the consequences of specific features affordances into information. Do we want more diverse or less diverse teams? What kind of teams do we want? That will be the result of the design of the systems. Thank you so much, and I will be very happy to take your questions.